So, pónganse las manos acá, como lo estamos haciendo, and hagan sienten una vibración. If you guys are feeling a vibration when you do that, that's what we're looking for with the sound of. Hola, hello, yo soy Andrés y llegó un nuevo video. Hoy les traigo una invitada que, a pesar de no haber nacido en Estados Unidos, aprendió inglés y perdió completamente su acento a tal punto que ya nadie le pregunta de dónde es. En este canal compartimos tips, secretos y consejos para aprender inglés mucho más fácil. Hoy nos va a contar cuáles son los consejos, qué secreticos hay, ejercicios y qué puedes hacer para que cada día sea más fácil hablar sin acento cuando hablas en inglés. Si te gusta aprender así, dale click a suscribirte y pícale a la campanita para que no te pierdas ni un solo video y nos veamos todas las semanas. Este video es la segunda parte de 2 videos que se hicieron sobre este tema. Si no te has visto el primer video, que lo sacamos antes que este, pásate por ahí, te dejo un link aquí arriba o en la cajita de descripción. Now let's try to talk a little bit about the sounds that we don't have in Spanish, or most of us don't have in Spanish.
Okay.
Like the R.
Like the R.
Because we roll our
such
R's. Carro, rápido,
Rápido.
Rodrigo, Andrés. We're always touching our
Palate.
palate. Okay, so we're always rolling our R's. In English, it's not like that.
No, the tongue should not be touching the upper palate at all. In fact, in English, you pull the tongue back. All right. Try doing it.
That is something that is difficult for me. Like when I see explanations on where to place your tongue, I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
It's true. Like you don't know what your tongue is doing. Okay, so let's do
What would
something
be
else.
like a good exercise?
Great
like
question.
a practical exercise.
So let's start with the, unlike the Spanish R, that for the R, can you?
If you want to say carro, Andrés, rápido, perro, we roll our R's.
Which means that the tip of the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth several times, and you relax the tongue. For the American R, you do not want the tip of the tongue to touch, but basically what happens is that you pull the tongue back, the sides of the tongue, you want to feel them pushing against the sides of the teeth, and you round your lips, something also that Spanish speakers or Latin speakers don't do.
La R de nosotros siempre toca el paladar. La R en inglés nunca toca el paladar. Por eso los gringos suenan como carro, perro, porque nunca la lengua toca el paladar. Que tu lengua, cuando pronuncias la R, no toque el paladar. Y la segunda, con la boca redonda.
Yeah.
¿Cierto? Hace ese sonido redondo o esa posición redonda. Pero que la lengua toque los lados, puede tocar los lados, pero nunca el paladar.
It's like when you're imitating a dog growling, like.
Let's talk a little bit about. Let's talk a little bit about the T.
Actually, the T is really interested. I might be confusing you here a bit, but bear with me, it's important.
Okay.
The T is a really strange sound because how you pronounce it really depends on where it is in the word, right? For example, the T at the beginning of a word, like in the word time, has a little H after, right? Think like you're adding an H, like you're whispering. Try to whisper. Yes. So you want to whisper it first, like say, just whisper. Yeah. Just whisper the word. Yeah, perfect.
Tell.
Yes.
Wow.
That was so good. Don't substitute the with it.
Oh.
Right?
I actually was doing that before.
Yeah.
Less and more.
Yeah.
So, tell.
Amazing.
Ojo, que es que aquí estoy aprendiendo yo también. Yo siempre pensaba que era como no, es más atrás. Tell.
Wow.
Right?
Do you hear this? It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because tell without that
Tell.
H sound
Tell.
may not sound to them. It may sound like a D because they're expecting to hear that H sound. So it's less about sounding less, Hispanic, but just more clear so people don't confuse it with other words. And then you have to repeat yourself and then you feel, like crap.
English is not a phonetic language. So that means what you're reading is not exactly how it's going to sound.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. not like how it's gonna sound. It's not even not exactly. You have to detach the spelling from pronunciation and start only listening. The problem is that most non-native speakers, they start learning English through reading and writing, a lot of them in school. And then especially also because Spanish is phonetic.
Yeah, it is
You're
phonetic.
expecting it in the same characters. So you're expecting it to sound, but no. And you have to start hearing it and not expecting it to sound like how it's written.
That's very important. So you were talking about the T before I interrupted you. So do you want to add
I
something
actually
to it?
wanted to add something interesting, another interesting thing. So the T between two vowels doesn't sound like a T, like in the word university. I'm going to say it with a regular T, university. How do usually people say it in America?
University.
Exactly. What did you do with this T?
That was my Spanish hack.
Yeah?
I make it sound like a light R.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Like I make it sound like that.
So the T between two vowels sounds like a D, but really it sounds like the light Spanish R, as in the word pero. He knows. It's called intuition.
Yeah.
This is why you're so good at what you do on
thank
this.
you.
So, for example, the word Betty. Betty. Say it.
Betty.
Good.
But like Betty as a name.
The name Betty.
name Betty. Okay.
Or activity.
Activity.
Very nice. And one of the words that are harder for Spanish speakers to pronounce is party.
It is a difficult word.
Right. So let's just say the word par.
Par.
Like park.
Park.
Right. Par.
Par.
That's
Like, should I-
beautiful.
Par.
Right. That's the beginning. So
Okay.
you don't want to skip that. You don't want to drop the R. After you pull the tongue.
Long R, like
Yeah.
long A, par.
It's a long A. Then you bring the tongue up for the R. Party.
Party. Okay. Party.
Very good.
That is another thing that we're gonna talk about. Is that like traveling between sounds?
Yeah, transitioning. I
Transition.
really love traveling between sounds, so we can steal it. Transitioning between sounds from one sound to another.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that a little later. But
You gotta hold on the R a little bit and think like you're starting over.
party.
That's it. No,
Did I?
that was good. Do it
Oh
again.
wow.
Par,
Par.
par,
Par.
part,
Part.
part,
Part.
park,
Park.
park,
Park.
partial,
Partial.
party.
Par.
Hey, no. Like your tongue is here, right?
Yeah.
To say the word party, you need to do party. And what you're doing is
Par.
party. You're leaving this part down. You gotta pull it back.
Party.
It's well, first of all, it sounds good already. Like in British
Okay.
English, that works. Because
So I'm moving to London.
if you can do it in slow motion, you can do it
Party.
fast, right? So it's
Okay. Party.
yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so I think the next thing would be the z.
Oh
sound.
yeah. This is something I didn't know about. Es algo que yo no sabía y es la diferencia en el sonido de la S que suena más como una Z.
So the S in the spelling, when you see an S in the word, it can be either a S, of course, but also a J, as in the word casual,
Casual.
right?
Okay.
Or as a Z sound as the word husband, right? And that's very common. So an
Husband.
S, yeah, can be pronounced as a Z. The thing is that in Spanish you don't have Z.
We
So
don't.
a lot of so it's not only the spelling, it's also this does not exist in Spanish, so you immediately switch it to the closest thing that
Which is
exist in Spanish, which is
S.
an S. So you'll say husband, right?
Yes.
Instead of reason, how would you say it?
Should I say it like, okay, reason.
Right, reason.
That's what you will say if you weren't aware of using it like a Z sound.
Exactly.
Like reason. So when do you know? How can you
Sometimes you
tell?
have to first like open your ears and start hearing it, because sometimes you can't tell by the spelling.
Yeah.
I can tell you that a lot of times when the S is between two vowels in the word, it's very likely that it's going to be pronounced
When
as
it's
a Z.
between
But when
vowels.
it's between vowels. Not
Alright.
all the time,
What about when it's at the beginning of a word?
not so much.
So we could say if it starts with an S, it will sound like an S.
It is likely
Most
to-
likely.
Yeah.
but if it's in the middle of two vowels,
Right.
it might sound, or it probably will always sound like a Z.
So always never exists in English. So I would
Sadly.
never say, sadly, exactly. And I would say just when the S is in the middle of the word, pay attention. Try to recognize if you're hearing an S or a Z sound.
Right.
And also the S at the end. A lot of times the S is a Z. For example, in the word kids.
Kids. Oh, wow. For me, that would be difficult. It's a plural. And in Spanish, we always think sounds like an S.
And an S is plural, right?
Yeah.
But no, actually the S is actually a Z. Plural.
Z.
There is a rule. I have a video about it, so we'll just link it in the that explains, so we don't
Alright.
waste your time. But just pay attention that the S can be pronounced as a Z. In many cases, it's at the end of the word.
So what's the difference between an S and like when you create that sound in English?
And a Z. So actually nothing changes in the mouth, but the one thing that changes is the vocal cords. So if you put your hands here and you start with an S, and then you start to just make a sound like a hum. When you hum, let's hum. And I'm hoping that you're doing it too. And did you
What?
feel vibrations?
Vibration. So pónganse las manos acá, como lo estamos haciendo, and hagan sienten una vibración. If you guys are feeling a vibration when you do that, that's what we're looking for with the sound of
Very good. You're
Right.
a good teacher.
She's a good teacher. I just copied that.
Yeah, so zzz. You want to switch between the zzz and to start controlling the vibrations.
So Hadar actually has an ebook with some words that you can use to practice these different sounds. Check it out. I'm gonna leave the link.
Yeah,
in
just
the
for
description
Spanish
box.
speakers.
Power tip. This is a power tip.
Power tip. So one of the most important things if you want to improve your pronunciation, your clarity, is to take the passive knowledge and turn it into active, which means you have to, once you learn something new, you have to take action and practice right away, because consuming more and more knowledge will not get you further, right? It will not get you to where you want to be, because it'll still be, you'll be aware of it. And the more we're aware of things without practicing them, the more self-conscious we become,
Yes.
right? We're afraid, oh,
Because
didn't
we
do
know
this.
so much,
Yeah.
but we're not practicing enough, so we only see mistakes.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, first of all, mistakes is the only way to learn. So you really have to be okay with making mistakes, because that means that you're growing and you're changing and you're improving. If you're afraid of mistakes, you will always be stuck in that lower level, mediocre level, because you'll be so afraid to speak. And we all know that in order to improve, you got to speak. So you'll
Yes.
be trapped. If you want to push yourself further, you have to be okay with making mistakes. Even if you make mistakes, even if you have an accent, it's still you, right? It's still your presence. And the most important thing is, like, you don't let your English get in your way, right? You don't let English take away from who you are. And you're authentic, and which is the most important thing. And that's how you'll always have success. Because those mistakes don't matter. People don't hear them. But when you are insecure about that, like, or when you apologize for your English,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, excuse me, forgive my English, then that's when people
In your
are
head.
always, it's in your head and people will start noticing it.
Right.
And the second thing is that you have to practice, practice, practice. Put it to practice, take action. You learn something, you learn how to pronounce the Z sound or the R sound. Now practice it, do it in words, repetition. It's going to feel weird at the beginning and uncomfortable and boring, right? It's
Yes,
boring and you
it
never
is.
have time for it. And there's always
Yeah.
something more important to do, but do a little bit of it and you develop the muscle memory and then you make it your own.
Okay.
And then it doesn't feel fake anymore. First of all, like, you need to identify the common mistakes that Spanish speakers make. And,
Okay.
and by the way, I have a video about the 10 most common pronunciation mistakes Spanish speakers make. And are we going to put a link to it?
We're not only gonna put a link in the description box, but you're gonna see it somewhere here.
No matter where you're at on your journey, like, there's always something to learn, and we're always open to learning, even me, like, to making mistakes, to being open about it, not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to learn.
The accent way with Hadar. I learned so much from you. I'm always learning from her. And vamos a hacer un video en el canal de Hadar con unas palabras que ustedes me enviaron que son difíciles de pronunciar. Así que vayan al video de Hadar, lo dejo aquí abajo el link. There are so many tips that Hadar has. Go check out her channel.
It's Accents with English with Hadar, and I'm inviting you there.
Y si quieren mejorar su acento, suscríbanse al canal de Hadar. I definitely want to thank you for coming today.
It's been such an honor and a privilege to show up like this in front of your beautiful audience. And thank you for your time and for listening to us.
Si les gustó el video, denos un like, thumbs up, and subscribe to both of our channels.
Yes.
I'll see you guys in my next video.
Come check out our video on my channel.
Bonitos, muchas gracias por estar acá y nos vemos en el próximo video. Bye.
Ciao.
Nice.